I'm also going to check connections everywhere because just like I said, we
Right,
are
right.
streaming across different social media platforms. So I believe that we are already visible on Twitter now, but just need to double check that. And then we should, yeah, also be visible on our Twitter. Oh yeah, Twitter is visible, and we should be also be visible on our YouTube, yes. And then Binance Live. Let's go. ArtFi Project Spotlight with Cool Museum. Okay, here we are. And I am going to refresh it. Yes, I could see us everywhere. Now I'm going to play our countdown video for about 30 seconds and we will be right back to our audience. GM, yes, this is definitely a big GM to everyone, even though you might see me for the fifth time of the day. Yeah, but never get bored because this is definitely a very fun session, friends, I promise. So be sure to stay here and then yeah, listen to everything that our speakers Wei and Jensen plus the very cute little assistant Louis over here hanging around yeah, to introduce the project to us, Co-Museum. Let's welcome the one and the only ArtFi in our Web3 space. Who wanted to fight to the seat to be the first one to introduce yourself? And then no one.
Okay.
Okay, here we go, Jens, please.
Hi everyone. I'm James Holland. Uh, have some experience being a degen trader early on in the 2021 bull run, and then working with various artists like Drifter Shoots, Ferocious, and a couple of artists in between here and there. And before I landed here at Co-Museum.
Very nice. Wow, being a degen, but also yeah, in the art fi space right now. So kind of like a combination, right? Of yeah, art and like fancy things and then degen. Thank you for the intro. And next we are going to welcome Wei. And Wei actually is like bilingual, right? So Wei, today we're going to challenge you to introduce your project in Mandarin Chinese. No, just kidding. Okay. Yeah, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hi everybody, 你们好. My name is Wei. I'm 24 this year. I'm the founder of Co-Museum. I founded Co-Museum in 2021, and I got into crypto in 2016. Yeah.
Wow, wait. So, which means that you were born like in 2000, and then when you were 21 years old, like you found this project, like you were like senior in college, things like that.
So in Singapore, so I'm from Singapore. So in
Uh-huh.
Singapore, you have to serve your national service. So I got to go to the army.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. So right after army, I was supposed to go to the UK to study. But I decided to get full time because I had the idea for Co-Museum since 2018. But back in the day, NFTs weren't really a thing as well. So the technology and the concept, it couldn't really click. And then 2021, that's when I got into NFTs. I found out about it, and I was even part of organizing the first ever NFT exhibition in Singapore. And that was way back in 2021 November. So we were one of the first in the whole world as well. And that's when I decided, hey, I really believe in that this is the right technology, this is the right time to build. So I dropped out of school, and being a Chinese and Singaporean, that's like the greatest dishonor you can bring to your family. So I almost got
your
kicked out of the
family
house.
allow you to drive out. That is definitely very open-minded.
I don't think allowed is the right word to use, but
Okay,
but
tolerate you to drop out.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a better term, right? So I dropped out of school. I sold all the JPEGs, I sold all the crypto, I sold all the stocks, everything that I had, and went all in to build Co Museum.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, I totally feel you because, well, I would also like to talk a little bit about myself since I also did something, yeah, related to art before I um started to work full time in the Web3 space. So yeah, starting when I was little because I had to support my family, right? Yeah, and then I went to a lot of different performances and I study music for a long, 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 long time. So after school, I went to, yeah, different places to perform, and then after that, I teach, and then after that, I host, yeah, music events and a concert and etc. So that's that's what brought me to the weather space because we had several project teams that they say, hey, we need someone who could like host AMA sessions and yeah and speak both Mandarin Chinese and English and also could docs. Yeah, but I'm sorry I didn't docs today because yeah, just like I mentioned earlier, like I work all night and I didn't have time to even put my makeup on. Oh my goodness. And it's already like 11 a.m. over here, yeah, in East Coast America. And so much appreciate that for the team to support and introducing yourself over here. And talking about like you mentioned, you had the concept of co-museum when you were just 18 years old, which means like you were just in high school. And that actually reminds me another high school talent, Pac-Man, the founder of Blur, right? He also kind of like had this kind of concept that he wanted to build something big, right? And then he dropped out of high school. He also has a Chinese parent. They told him to do it. That is amazing. Yes. Okay, so actually, Chinese parents are Asian parents. I would say overall are more open-minded than everyone thought, right? They are not stereotype Asian parents anymore. Okay. So what was the idea that you wanted to, what was the vision that you see behind Co-Museum? Wei, think.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So some background context about a little about me and my family. One of the businesses that we are involved in, it's called a free port. I don't know if you guys know, like FREEPORT is a free port. It's a are you familiar with the concept, Moonlight? Have you heard of a
Freeport.
free port before?
No,
Yeah.
I'm afraid, yeah, I don't really, yeah, get it.
No worries. A free port, basically it's a tax-free zone where basically people can store things and trade things tax-free. And the one in Singapore, it's purpose built to store high-end valuables like art and like gold and watches and wine and stuff like that. It's a very crazy over-engineered facility.
Wow.
Have you watched the movie Tenet before? Moonlight? Tenet by any chance?
Well, I have to say that I probably only been to movie theaters for probably once or twice because yeah, I started to work when I was little. Yeah, and
Man.
Freeport actually remind me when we go to airport, like we have those duty free shops. We don't
Yeah.
have to pay any taxes to buy. Uh-huh.
So imagine like that concept, but literally like artworks, right? And the one in Singapore, basically it's the biggest privately owned art storage in the whole of Asia in terms of dollar value. So the amount of assets inside there is like tens of billions of dollars. Like literally, the craziest artworks in the world. Like you have literally Da Vinci, Monet's, Van Gogh's, literally all stuff like that. And being involved in that, that's kind of the inception of Co-Museum, right? Because the idea of Co-Museum was when I was in that place, in that environment, it didn't sit right with me. Moonlight, art is culture, culture's for the people. Why is it that throughout our history, art has never been owned by the people before? Literally, you think about it, it's always been owned by the kings, the queens, the billionaires, like literally every single museum in the world, if not directly built by, it's funded by the billionaires, like either money or paintings or both, So like the narrative and the ownership has never been, part of us. And yes, technically museums are public institutions and it's for all to view. But one of the most intrinsic parts about the art experience is the ownership, right? And the funniest thing about this is I also observed this, right? Whenever I had these collectors and they had a really, important painting they wanted to sell, the most important thing that they would do is that they'll bring this piece for exhibitions, for road shows, bring it to museums, bring it to shows, exhibit it, make it famous, right? Make the art piece recognized and make it famous. But Moonlight, let me ask you a question, right?
Mhm.
How do you become famous without us, the people, us, the community, to make you famous?
That is,
We are what?
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Well,
you go for it.
okay, I thought you really wanted to ask me to answer it, but anyways, I literally could answer it. Yes. Okay, but I will let you finish first. Thank you.
Yeah, no, like literally, we the people are what makes it famous, right? So we the people actually hold the most power in the value chain, but we've never been part of the value exchange before. In fact, they extract more value from us. We go to the museums, we take videos, we take photos, we generate content, we talk about it, we go to the gift shops, we buy these merch and use the stuff, generate income for them, but we get zero value back. And that is why the Ideal Co Museum was birthed for me, right? Because there are two things in Web3 that I genuinely believe in, right? As crazy and honestly speaking, be very truthful, right? A lot of projects in Web3, and that's the nature of the industry we are in, right? It's very seasonal, right? There is a certain token, you write the momentum, you take the money, and then 1 year, 2 year later, a lot of projects are not here anymore. But fundamentally, for me, I got into crypto in 2016. When I first got in, the way I was introduced to was the idea of Bitcoin. And I thought that was the most interesting thing, because for me, Bitcoin was showing me the power of ownership. And in this case, the ownership of your money, right? Because traditionally, if the government wants to print more money, your money is devalued, inflation, right? But Bitcoin is only ever going to be 20 million Bitcoin, governed by a sovereign code, decentralized, on the blockchain. What is yours, right? Nobody can take that. That ownership of your money, that sovereignty, that was empowerment. And I drew that parallel. Like, okay, the ownership of your money, that's what Bitcoin is, but we never had ownership of our culture before. So that's the first thing, that, okay, so let's put ownership of our culture back into the hands of the people. And the second thing, which I thought was so powerful, which I think we all witnessed, right, in 2021 during the NFT bull market, was the power of community to drive value, right? Like in 2021, as messy and as crazy as it was, there was a beauty about it. The beauty about it was there wasn't a person in a suit and tie telling you what was art and what was not, what was culture, what was not.
Right.
If the community decided a JPEG of a rock was worth 300 ETH, the JPEG of the rock was worth 300 ETH, right? If the community decided that the ape was worth a couple $100,000, the ape was worth a couple $100,000, right? The power of community to drive value. And that's something so powerfully fundamental about Web3. But the biggest companies in the world, it's not just, they understand the power of community drive value as well. I don't know if you guys like trade stocks back in the day, but in 2020, as you remember, the legend Elon earned us so much money. Elon could literally shoot out a tweet and the market cap of Tesla could jump a couple $1 billion, And why? Because we were Tesla maxis. He had a community of people that believed every single word he said, and that's power of community to drive value. And that is why I decided, hey, how do we take this idea of ownership and this idea of community to drive value and supercharge it and bring it to culture and art? Because that is something very fundamental for our humanity, art and culture. And that's why I believe one of the most powerful use cases of Web3 is for culture.
Definitely, yes, community driven value, right? But also, like, since you mentioned Elon Musk, also, yeah, I would say like KOL or influencer marketing is quite important as well. And that's why we could see that right now some people joking that, hey, we actually could find more influencers in the Web3 space than real users because everyone wanted to be, and everyone wanted to call themselves as influencer. Hey, I'm an influencer, and what about you? And also paid promotion, etc., things like that, right? And then a lot of product teams who were new to the Web3 spaces, and they don't really know who are real influencers and who are just like mass productions, right, from different I would say just different small groups that they could probably produce like 100 different accounts, right, and then become quote influencer and quote accounts, right? So anyways, let's go back to the topic over here. So that was definitely a very interesting concept, right? Because of your family's background, and that made you have this kind of idea. So is that the reason why your family also being quite supportive and being said, like, James, if during our conversation you have anything like you wanted to jump in to talk about why you also decide to join the team feel free to share as well. Thank you.
Yeah. So the concept of fractionalization is not new.
Mhm.
Something that's been around for decades. And coming into crypto and DeFi, and I thought it was something that was going to be important in the entire space. Like the idea that somebody can't always take advantage of the fact that they could get some of the upside of buying like expensive PFPs as an example. So like when I came in, I couldn't afford a CryptoPunk, but I want to get in on the upside of buying a CryptoPunk. So at the time, there was a platform called Fractional, later rebranded to Tessera, where I had bought 1/100th of a CryptoPunk for like 1 ETH. And I was so incredibly happy. I'm like, yes, I got a piece of something that like is super important in crypto. The provenance is important, the history is important. It inspired the ERC 721 contract, or standard rather. And very quickly I realized, oh, this is incredibly illiquid, the thing that I just bought. The market that I'm selling to is incredibly small just because it's a fractional of a piece. But then it's like siloed on their own platform. I can't like trade it on other secondary marketplaces if I wanted to sell it on OpenSea, or if I wanted to sell it on Blur, which at the time didn't exist yet. But it felt so limited. So I've already had like a not so great impression of like fractional ownership on fractional.art. Then I got to see like stuff like Masterworks had also popped up in the traditional art space, which is, in my opinion, even worse than the experience in fractional, just because you're even more limited. But then I got to meet Leon, who's a member of the team, and he introduced me to Wei and his vision. And I came in as a skeptic. I came in with a lot of hard questions for Wei, and I was surprised that he had answered things. He had an answer for everything. I was like, well, I ran into this problem. How do we solve this? Oh, okay. Ran into this problem. How do we solve this? Oh, okay. And at the end of the call with Wei, and I ended up meeting Wei actually in Art Basel for Miami afterwards. I hit him with some more questions. At the end of that, I thought, damn, this might actually work. And now being on the team for a few months now, and going through the many calls that we've had with various people, they come in with very similar questions, and at the end of the call they have the same responses. Damn, I think this might work. So that's kind of my experience in the fractional art space, and now working with co-museums. So grateful to be here.
That is
That's
just
so
so
sweet,
nice.
James.
Oh
That's so
my.
sweet of you to say.
So how do you guys know each other? Seems like one of you are actually also in North America and the other in Singapore, right? Where did you meet each other, and how do you like work through different time zones? It's like 12 hours apart.
So,
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
wanna tell the story?
I have
Go for
my
it. Yeah.
players. So I got to meet someone named Leon in Hong Kong around Ape Fest. I met him through various like Azuki events, and I just kept seeing Hong Kong's pretty small. And if you're in the crypto and NFT scene there during a major event, it gets infinitely smaller. You just kind of see everybody multiple times. And he had told me about Wei. Hopped on a call with Wei after Hong Kong, and then got to meet him promptly for Art Basel, Miami. We were already doing a commemorative art drop for Pudgy Penguins. And then not too long ago, I actually got to see him again I went to Shanghai for another Azuki event, went to Complex Con in Hong Kong, where we had a booth where we collaborated with 18 artists and a brand called Curated by Michael. And we got to help out there. And then I got to stay in the team office for some time, and got to meet Wei and the rest of the team. So lots of late nights while we were there, and also late nights when I'm not there, for both sides.
That is very nice. Thank you so much. And well, could you please also tell us about any like upcoming collections or upcoming drop related to Co Museum? And Also earlier, Wei mentioned that you actually have several IP collaborations, right? Maybe yeah, later you might also elaborate on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Moonlight on our end. Yes, we are very blessed. I mean, ultimately for me, like we've been building this for so long. We've been really blessed to have like founders in the space and really awesome people to support us and believe us and give us the opportunity. So I give you an example, right? At Hong Kong, James was in Hong Kong because there was like a Zuki event. But coinciding to that event as well, we actually Co-Museum actually held an exhibition in Hong Kong as well. So for those in the Hong Kong and China region as well, I'm sure you guys are familiar with K11. And in Hong Kong, we showcase in K11 Musea. And it was really awesome. We were personally invited down by Adrian Chang and his team. So Adrian, aka Last Night, his crypto moniker. But Adrian's a legend, in the art space and as a businessman, as a cultural icon. Adrian is the founder of K11, which is like this. It's basically a mall on steroids. It's like a museum mall, art meets retail. He's one of the guys that pioneered like experience per footfall. I don't know if you get experience per square feet instead of footfall per square feet kind of thing. Like just basically a really cool guy. And he's one of the biggest holders of Azuki as well, which I thought was really funny. And he's one of the biggest art collectors, or his family is one of the biggest art collectors in Asia as well. So he invited us down to showcase, one of our first drops, which is actually the golden skateboard with Azuki. We're putting that for co-ownership. It's signed by Tony Hawk. Really, really cool. I don't know if you guys know Tony Hawk, but he's like, he's basically the icon of skating. He's the guy that, made skateboard mainstream and famous, and basically we were showcasing that. And we were working with another partner as well. I'm not sure if you heard of Moonlight. The fashion brand Ambush. Have you heard of Ambush before?
Yeah, well, sounds familiar with that. If there are any like visual, to help me
James,
element.
James can pull up Ambush and Yun and Verbal if you could, James. But basically, Ambush, it's a Japanese fashion streetwear brand. Really, really OG brand. They collaborate with like Nike, Moet, and Hennessy, and like Dior. It's a husband and wife duo. It's Yun and Verbal. So Yoon is the one that does all the creative work for design. She's a legend. She's one of the most famous female streetwear, not even female, like just as streetwear designer, she's one of the most famous and the best, but as a female as well, really a legend in the space. Verbal, he's really awesome. He's actually my first point of contact. I shared about Co-Museum with him back in 2022. He's one of the first people to believe in me and say, hey, whatever you do, tell me, I want to be a part of it. And Verbal, fun fact for you, he's part of a group called Teriyaki Boys, and he basically sang Tokyo Drift. I don't know if you know the song Tokyo Drift Moonlight.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
so cool.
So they were part of this exhibition as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, like Zagabong came down as well for the exhibition. He wore the diamond necklace that we made for him that is part of this drop, which I realized we haven't even explained what kind of Co-Museum does. So maybe we can transition to that Moonlight, kind of what Co-Museum does, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think like people listening, like they kind of understand. So it's something to do with fractionalization. But guys, as James mentioned, right, fractionalization is not a new concept. It's literally been done for like 60 plus years worth of history, right? But in my opinion, most people have kind of been, tackling fractionalization in the wrong perspective and the wrong manner, right? So let me give you guys an example, right? Fractionalization, it's a pure investment proposition. You're only doing it to earn money, right? 赚钱. So the idea is that, let's say this is a Picasso, right? Let's say you have a Picasso. This is a Picasso. It's worth $1 million. You think next year it's going to be worth $2 million, right? So, okay, let's buy it now. Let's fractionalize it. Let's buy it now, right? The first issue arises because you're going to cash out at $2 million. Nobody's going to buy a fraction at a market cap above $2 million, right? It doesn't make sense because you're going to cash out at $2 million. Essentially, what that means is that the traditional cash out value, basically the value you're going to cash it out as, that's the price ceiling. You have created a price ceiling for your shares, right? So that's the first issue with traditional fractionalization. The second issue with traditional fractionalization is really simple. Okay, a year has passed. Picasso is worth about $2 million, right? Let me ask you guys a question. Who are you going to cash it out to? it's literally the same 40 Picasso collectors in the world. There's no change in paradigm valuation. It's still one person buying one painting. It's probably that you just found the painting before anybody could buy it, and you just bought it first, but you're still going to cash it to the same bunch of billionaires.
Mhm.
So that's the problem with traditional fractionalization. But at Co-Museum, we're asking a question: how do we create a co-ownership form factor that when the end consumer looks at it, they're like, yo, it's not a $1 million painting. Why are you selling me for $2 million? No, when we look at it, it's more like, yo, it's $100. I'm willing to pay $200, $300, $400. That price insensitivity at scale, the sum of the parts become worth more than the whole, right? You essentially created a whole new way to value art. It's no longer one person to one painting. It's community-driven valuation. It's a community adding up all together, and you create a whole new different way to value the art. Community-driven valuation. Basically, how do we do that? It's very simple. Instead of creating a share, right? Like what James said, like you buy a share of a CryptoPunk or you buy a share of a painting, there's no utility for it. There's no emotional value, which is one of the most important drivers of art's value. It's the emotional aspect, the tangibility, right? So instead of treating art fractionalization as a investment tool, a pure investment financial tool, right? We are changing fractionalization into a cultural, consumer, collectible product, or as we call it, an asset-backed collectible. So what do I mean? Moonlight, are you familiar with like the art toys industry, like your Bear Bricks, your Pop Mart figures, your Funko Pop, stuff like that?
Well, not really do my to elaborate on that. Thank you.
Yeah. James, you wanna pull up a picture of a Bear Brick?
That would
You
be
can do, like,
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Bear Brick, I don't know, with Warhol on it or like a Monet on it or something. Yeah. Let me just pull that up for you guys. There you go. Thank you, James. Yeah, let's do one with a Monet. James, can you type in Bear Bricks with Monet? Yeah. Yeah, just click on anyone.
Oh, yeah. Once I see the picture, I realize that yes, I have actually seen
Yeah.
this kind of
You see,
artwork.
you see this, right? Yeah, so these are what we call art toys, right? They
Uh-huh.
are collectible products with artistic either licensed IP or in and of itself it has artistic value as a collectible as well, right? So they call it art toys, right? Instead, Web 2 is what? Instead of just buying a Bear Brick with a picture of a Monet on it, well, let's say $1,000, right? Now with Co-Museum, the idea is that you not just buy a collectible with a picture of a Monet, but you actually own the underlying Monet as well, the actual asset. Instead of buying a print of a Van Gogh from the museum, a pretty piece of paper for $200 that you just hang on your wall, now with Co-Museum, you buy the print of the Van Gogh and you actually own the underlying Van Gogh as well. The same way PFP's pioneered, you buy the punk, you own the underlying punk. You buy the ape, you own the underlying ape. It's the same way we're pioneering. You buy the collectible, you own the underlying asset. It's the whole idea of the ownership economy. Buy something dope shit, you like it in itself, has collector value, it's cool in itself, but hey, by the way, you actually own that piece hanging on the museum wall, right? That's what we're doing, asset-backed collectibles.
Ah, I see. Thank you so much for letting us know about that. And so I have seen that the team going to different spaces, right, to do AMA sessions. So definitely right now is a time for your project to promote and lots of marketing activities, right? How about for retaining the audience and to grow the community? Do you have any strategies on that? Thank you.
No, yeah, that's a great question. I think it's been a very interesting time. So we are in the midst of launching our Founders Pass. And, for me, I honestly wanted, that's the reason why I call it the Founders Pass as well, right? We wanted to find people who believed in our vision, who believed in what Co-Museum is building, right?
Mhm.
And being very frank with you guys, I think we've been kind of sharing kind of what Co-Museum is, but if I can be, just like to share my heart, right? I shared, right? I dropped out of school.
Mhm.
I put in all my assets. I put in everything I had to start Co-Museum, and it's because I genuinely believe that, what we're doing could, really kind of change how the way art plays in everybody's life, right? Like for our everyday person, right, working a 9-to-5 job, right? Whether you're Web 2 or Web 3, right? Work a 9 to 5 job. You know, you're earning, I don't know, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. When we leave this earth, right? What kind of legacy, what kind of impact, what kind of mark do we leave on this earth, right? But now imagine, right? Like you can bring your family, your friends, your kids, your next generation, or you literally can bring your kids not to a museum and look at a piece of art. No, you literally can bring your kids to our museum looking at your piece of art, right? You literally can point at the wall, you tell your kids, hey, that is our Monet, that's our Picasso, that is our Xu Beihong, that's our Zhao Wuji, you know, that is our painting, right? That ownership of your history, the ownership of your culture, the ownership of your art, that's legacy. That's empowerment. That is something that nobody can take away. Immutable on the blockchain. That is something that will be your legacy, right? That is something, and that's why I really believe in art belonging to the people. Art should have never been a tool to separate the richest 1% from the 99%. No, art should be bringing people closer together. You know, like if I can summarize on my end, like the philosophy side of a Code Museum, there's a quote by the Buddha that I think really highlights and kind of, you know, kind of show, like explains kind of the heart behind Code Museum. The Buddha says this: if you like the flower, right, you pluck it, you take it home, you keep it for yourself, right? But if you truly love the flower, you would water it, you would nurture it so that when it blooms, everybody around you can behold its beauty together. Then the true value of the flower is fulfilled. That is art, right? This is not some flowery bullshit philosophy. No, you literally see that in real life right now. Like, what's probably the most valuable art piece in the world, right? Moonlight. It's probably the Mona Lisa, right? Why? Because I can go to some random kid, I don't know, in some random country like Thailand. I can go to Thailand and just show the kid the picture of the Mona Lisa. Oh yeah, I know, I see. Just by knowing about it, just by being in the cultural zeitgeist, it creates value. Now imagine what happens when everybody can co-own it. You redefine how art is valued. It's a community-driven valuation. Art belongs to the people, and when that true purpose is fulfilled, I believe the true monetary value of art will be fulfilled as well. So that is the reason why we always say Code Museum, it's not a NFT project. I mean, we literally, the idea has been around before NFTs were a thing, right? It is a cultural movement. Do you believe that art belongs to the people? Because that is Web3, the power of community to drive value, to drive change, right? If we believe in this, that's why we're called Code Museum. It stands for Community Museum. We're trying to tell people that museum is not a place. Museum is a people. We are what makes something art, right? That painting on the wall, that's just oil on canvas. That's just a pencil and paper. It's only when we, the people, we look at a painting, when it speaks to us on an emotional, aesthetic value, or even spiritual level, now that thing becomes art. We, the people, are what makes it art. And that's why we're called Code Museum. It's a community museum, right? So that is what we're all about.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, for letting us know about like, yes, definitely art. Yeah, is for the people, right? Just like you say, so not just for the rich, right? However, yeah, and also as you say, right, a lot of artwork are so expensive that's not affordable, and we're very glad that in the Web3 space that we have a project such as Co-Museum, right? Wanted to break the boundaries between humans and artwork. How about because to be honest, so let's go real. How about like utilities? Yeah, like utilities to be your holders, because we all have like very beautiful dreams and goals, right? Very ambitious. However, in the Web3 space, we are facing this kind of environment. Everyone's asking, okay, so when I be your holder, what kind of utilities, what benefits I could get, right? If not, they actually normally you just dump the NFT collection. Well, that is we have seen these quite often, right? Therefore, pure art projects super difficult to survive. I interviewed Master Cai Zhizhong. He's definitely master of Chinese art. I interviewed him over a year ago when he was promoting his MT artwork in the Web3 space. Right. Wow, we talk about Zen, we talk about art, we talk about a lot of the pure, like I should say, spiritual things and art.
Yep.
Right. Like he was very happy. The MA was perfect, even though that was at my 3 a.m. in New York City, and his 3 p.m. in Taipei City. Right. We were like 12 hours apart, but that's okay. That went well, and actually, a lot of other channels, they just screen recording our interview and repost it to their channels. But what I want to say is, even though that interview went viral, it was so popular because that was his only video AMA in the Web3 space. Yeah, others are all audio and just like, yeah, common, yeah, interview questions, like, right? Go deeper.
Yeah.
But I still want to
Yeah.
say right now, after a year, no one trade his NFT collections anymore. Like, actually, stop from like maybe 10 months ago, might be the first trade that we could see the record because it's on chain, right? So how do you make your project be sustainable? Yeah, we need to be real, right, to face the current issue because
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's Moonlight. That's an incredibly relevant question. Basically, art is utility, but in this space and in this market, you know, people are printing money left and right. Why do people mint your project, right? Basically, that's it.
Right.
You're asking a great question, right? The first thing I like to say is this: the purist in me is very simple. There's a reason why we started with asset-backed collectibles, like the physical products in and of itself. And our angle is, yes, the Web3 audience is important for us, and that's our core community.
Mhm.
But for our product, we are selling to the much wider audience of the rest of the world, right? And that's honestly how we think we can get these people to onboard into Web3. Because again, for the Web2 people, like example, my mom doesn't give a shit if something is on like blockchain or if it's decentralized. No, but they understand one thing: they understand value, right? People are collecting these art toys. Let me give you a real stat, and you understand how big this market is. Really interesting.
Mhm.
The whole art industry, that includes your auction houses, your art shows like Art Basel, Freeze, and all the reported private transactions that are reported, right? Obviously, there's about most of it, right? So basically, the whole thing, the art industry last year did about $67 billion worth of revenue, right? The other industry, which is also one of the fastest growing consumer markets, products in the world, called art toys and collectibles. Art toys and collectibles. Yeah, I'm not talking about any other derivative products like T-shirts, merch, stuff like that. No, just toys alone. That did $30 billion worth of sales.
Mhm.
You're talking about $20, $30 to about $200 pieces of plastic, right? That things literally did that amount of money and volume. What did that show me? That showed me there's a huge demand for people who are interested in art but can't afford it, so they buy the next best thing. That basically means this $30 billion industry is a solution to the symptom of the problem and not actually solving the problem in itself. And what we do is that we literally took these two industries, we combined it together, right? We created a whole new product category, right? Asset-backed collectibles. So the first point is we are selling to that audience as well, that $30 billion plus industry. That's what we're selling to, right? We are working with the same factories, the same artists, creating doper products. And the best part is, even if we create similar products, we have one thing that they will never have: ownership,
Mhm.
right? And that ownership doesn't just come with an intrinsic value of the actual ownership. It comes with social value, right? You are co-collectors with a community of people. You guys know each other. You guys will be on Discord. You guys will be, it's a community. It's the social communal way to collect art. So that's the first value proposition. We make dope shit and people buy that dope shit, and our dope shit is doper than everybody else because you have that intrinsic value, right? Dope shit is universal. That's what I always say. Whether you're Web 2 or Web 3, that's the first part. But the second part, which I think very interesting, Moonlight, is we are co-ownership, right? We're fractionalizing real world assets. The one thing that no other project has done that we kind of have done is that we are asset backed, but we're not a security.
Mhm.
Yeah, I spent 2 years on legal on this. And literally, we've created a way for you to be able to get the asset, but not being classified as security, which is big, right?
Mhm.
What does that mean? Moonlight, if you own 100% of our supply, you technically own the whole painting. You can take it home, right? But we also know that's literally impossible. How are you going to buy 100% of a painting, an NFT collection? Who can do that? It's not possible, right? That is why we created a buyout mechanism as well, right? Why? Because we have created something what we call community-driven valuation, right? There is a community-driven valuation, which we said just now, the sum of the parts are worth more than the whole, right? So it's higher. But there's also a very real-world, traditional valuation of a painting, right? And this is here, right? It may be lower, but it's definitely more stable. This is something that is proven $68 billion industry, this is what they subscribe to, this valuation. So we have this higher valuation, but as you said, with liquidity comes volatility, right? Price goes up, price goes down. People think it's cool, suddenly people don't think it's cool, whatever, right?
Right.
How do you incentivize these people to come into play? You have a buyout mechanism, right? Because let's say this is a Picasso, it's $1 million. So it's 2 million, 4 million, oh, drops to 1 million. Okay, I start to sweep the floor, Why? Because you can trigger a buyout. How does the buyout work? Moonlight, it's very simple. If you as a whale can accumulate a percentage of the whole collection, let's say 10%, you take the 10% NFTs, you say, okay, I got 10% now, I'm going to trigger a buyout. You're going to take this 10%, you're going to lock it in a smart contract, and you got 90%, right? So let's assume this is a collection of 100 NFTs, right? So 90% is 90 NFTs, right? I need to buy out the other 90 NFTs. I want to make an offer. Okay, I'm willing to pay 1 ETH for these 90 NFTs. So I take 90 ETH, I lock in a smart contract as well. Now the community has to decide, do they want to be bought out, or do they want to buy this guy out and prevent this thing from happening? So if community says, no, I don't mind getting buyout, they don't do anything. After 3 weeks, the guy owns the whole painting, and you take your NFT, you burn it, you take your pro rata share of however much the ETH is worth for you. But if the community says, no, I want to fight this guy, it belongs to the community, the community plus anybody else who wants to participate has to raise enough money to buy his 10 NFTs out. At what price? At the 1 ETH. There are 2 things that are very interesting, I think, about this buyout mechanism. Number one, this 1 ETH, now who is the one that make that 1 ETH pricing? It's the whale. And the whale is incentivized to give a good price to offer to buy you out because he has the risk of being bought out at the same price as well. So that's the first thing. You create a very nice price mechanism. But the second very interesting thing about this dynamic is this. Traditional fractionalization, the traditional value of your shares is the price ceiling, right? We just now described that. It's the price ceiling of your shares. But now because of co-ownership and this paradigm that we've created, the traditional value has become your floor of your NFT. So like any other project, any other collection, any other art piece in the world, the value can go up to infinite. That's the truth. But unlike every other project, and unlike every other thing in the world, there is a DCN. We have a bottom line. We have a floor price protection, which is the traditional asset in and of itself. So that is the difference between us and every fractionalization protocol that has ever existed, right? That is the way that we roll. We've transformed the way that fractionalization kind of works with culture. We've created a cultural product, a fractionalization product, where in and of itself, people think it's cool. People have the collectible. They don't want to sell it. They want to hold it. Success to me is low trading volume, but when it trades, the thing is definitely very high because people are emotionally attached. It's a cool thing. It's more than just a collectible they have at home. It's like, hey, this is cool. But by the way, you see that thing hanging in the museum right there? That's ours as well, right? That emotional experience, that ownership, that tangibility, that is the angle for us at Co-Museum. And that is why you asked me about utility. That is the price mechanism for protection and all the math and everything that's in there. But the ultimate utility, again, is legacy and ownership of dope shit. And that's the thing, right? Moonlight, this is something that I think people don't understand about art. Are you familiar with watches, Moonlight? Sopiao?
No.
Rich. So have you heard of brands like Patek Philippe or AP or Richard Mille or Rolex or stuff like that? Like all these watch brands. Have you heard of it before?
Well, not exactly because, well, I'm sorry, but in my generation, it seems like no one really wears watches. Yeah, well, maybe Apple Watch, yes.
What do you mean by in our generation? Are we not all in the same? Are you calling us old? James, could you pull up like some of the fancy watches? So Moonlight, I don't know if you know, but watches, they have some resale value, right? Or even Birkin bags. You know what Birkin bags are, right? Moonlight, like Hermes Birkin.
Yeah, well, yeah, very famous, expensive bags that I could never afford it.
But this is something very interesting, Moonlight. Let me tell you a real story.
Sure.
When I was a kid, okay, James, can you Google Patek Philippe, Aquanaut, and Nautilus? My dad, I still remember very vividly, I was like 6, 7 years old. My dad walked into Patek Philippe, which is a really fancy watch brand, right? And they offered him a Nautilus, which is this watch that you see on the screen right now.
Ooh.
And they offered him an Aquanaut, which is another watch. These watches right now, you buy it off retail, even a market that like that's not the best right now, you can sell it for 3 times the retail immediately. You can't even get this watch if you want to get it. In fact, they discontinued it. Now it's another model, but it's basically you can't get this watch, right? So it's an investment. So everybody now tells you watches are investments, wines are investments, cars are investments. But let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, these two watches, Aquanaut and Nautilus, was bundled together to my dad, 30% off retail price. James, your screen is showing to everybody. You know, sorry, I got cut off. Yeah, but they offered my dad that watch 30% off retail price, and we didn't even buy it. What is my point? My point is this: these cultural products are not some magical investment tool that suddenly there is value. No, you have to create something dope that people slowly consume. Like even Hermes Birkins as well. Back in the day, yeah, it was rare to get, but it's not like you have to line up and spend so much money and whatever. No, you could get a Kelly, you could get a Birkin, like, but it's because more and more people thought it was cool. And supply and demand, right? It's very simple. It's supply and demand. Supply, they kept the same, or maybe even lower it, and demand started growing. The rumor of a bag that was so expensive and only cool people to get it started to rose and rose and rose. And then that's how the investment proposition come in. Why am I saying Moonlight is very simple? There's no magic economics to collectibles and art and stuff like that that can just shoot the value up. It's just going to go to infinite. Not true. All right. Another trend. I don't know if you know, like Chinese contemporary art, Moonlight. When 2006 年的时候, 2006, 2008, very, very hot, right? Paintings literally were selling for millions of dollars back in that day for Chinese contemporary art, right? But the bubble burst. The demand was gone. You want to sell those artworks now, you can't even sell it for 20% of value for a lot of them, right? What am I trying to say? It's all about creating dope shit. If you create a dope shit, you create a community around it, and you create real value that is just collector value, that people find it valuable, cool, that appreciate the value in itself. That's the first step of creating real value.
How about BAYC? They had community. They had strong community with wealthy people, with businessmen, with builders from Web 2, Web 3. Yeah.
Yep. What did BAYC have? BAYC had community. In fact, they had such a strong community, and as great as the founders are, and as geniuses as they are, I don't think anybody in the world is that smart to create a $3-4 billion company in 9 months. That valuation came from the power of the community. That's how strong the community of BAYC was, right?
But what happened to it now?
In my opinion, if you ask me, right, which is why honestly I think like it was all amalgamated into all these things, right? BAYC community was key. That's very true. That's what the initial push was. The initial push of BAYC going up to the cultural status, that was what it was. It was that cultural icon community, stuff like that. But when you started to say things like, hey, here's ApeCoin. Hey, we're gonna make a metaverse. Hey, when you start to tie utility to a cultural thing, you kind of create a very skewed value as well, right? Because ApeCoin, that's a whole other thing to speculate about. Boom, and if I had Ape, I had a whole bunch. You literally airdrop like tens of thousands or hundreds of $1,000s worth of ApeCoin, you know? Hey, you get to participate in the other side. You get to get this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. So a lot of that speculation of all those values as well was priced into Bored Ape. That's why the fall from grace was so high because you are no longer just a cultural community product. You have become a gaming, everything else, and people are pricing all of that in a token or whatever, right? So they priced all of that in, and that's why, in my opinion, look at CryptoPunks, right? Yeah, prices have gone up, they've gone down, but they didn't go down as much, and they are sustainable, and it's coming back up. And CryptoPunks, what is its utility? Zero. No, but not true. It's art. It's a culture. It's the first ever NFT. Technically, it's not a 721, but you know, it's the first thing that ever inspired NFTs, right? That's what CryptoPunks are. Right, and they stayed pure to it, and that's why I think they didn't suffer as much of a fall from grace, right, compared to Bored Ape. So that, in my opinion, is the purity of what, you know, what a cultural object should be. Like, I tell you a real story. I had a collector. Her dad, bought a Picasso for $30,000 back in the day when they were like way back when Picasso was still alive. The daughter sold the same exact painting to a collector for $13 million 2 years ago. The person who bought it for $13 million, Moonlight, she was not asking, where's my $13 million worth of utility? No. The utility was the artwork in itself. The value was the artwork in itself. Right? So that is the key thing. If you focus on establishing yourself as a cultural product, a cultural artifact, art, basically. That thing is your value. Don't deviate from that, right? If you want to gamify it, if you want to do all of that kind of things, if you do it too much, you introduce the wrong kind of crowd. Again, look at Patek Philippe, look at your Hermes Birkins, look at your watches, look at your wines, look at everything. The people who started collecting didn't collect for money. You lose money when you bought watches back in the day, 20, 30% at least. But they loved it. They honored it. It was part of their life. Whether lose or win, they bought it. Those are your communities you want to build. Because as you build and as that community grows, now that thing becomes infectious. Oh my God, I like watches. The next guy, you share your passion with him. He starts to grow that community. And your supply is not exponentially going up. No, you just stay the same. Now, that's when the resale value, the supply and demand starts to kick in, starts to skew. Oh my God, the demand is outweighing the supply. And then once there comes a point, an inflection point, a flywheel point, where it tips over a scale where, oh my God, you can double your value now by buying this watch. Now the rest of the world comes in. They don't even really care about a watch, but shit, you can earn money and it's cool, they buy it. And then that's when it really goes. And that's what you see for watches and Birkins and stuff like that, But for now, we are at the early stage. We have to build the community first before we can get there. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, for explaining that. Yes, yeah, community is definitely important, but also how to make it stay longer. And I also wanted to say that in the past, like back in 2021, right, when we say that's an NFT bull round. Right? A lot of people were, in order to join a community, in order to be part of the quote unquote community, they are willing to spend a lot of money, right, to mint an NFT collection. However, after a bull round, probably we might realize that sometimes it's not the case, right? We could not just owning a piece of NFT and then just be able to know this person, know that person, hey, let's do this together, things like that. It's still not that easy though. So wanted to let one know that like-minded is really, really important. Don't just pretend like-minded. Real like-minded would help you to find real connections in the Web3 space and be also building together, right? That's all the essential things. Thank you. So before we wrap up today's session, since it's been about an hour and it's around midnight in Singapore, do we have any other information that you'd like to share with our community members over here? Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. James, what do you want? What should we share? Do you want to tease the thing that is on your T-shirt as well? Do you want to?
Oh yeah, I mean, immediately after our first our founders pass drop, we'll be collaborating or doing a drop with one of the biggest projects in the space. Something I'm certainly proud of and something that I love. And amongst other like really, really prominent PFP projects in the entire space. We have another project coming up. Do we want to share about the OG Bullway? No.
I think we keep some for
we'll keep some cards close to our chest. One thing that we do want to say is that the mint is coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
a huge amount. Yeah. Oh yeah. We have a huge amount that's been already sold via pre-sale to a lot of our collaborative communities, a lot of our key early supporters. So we just want to thank them so much. And we're nearly at the finish line. There's going to be a very, very limited amount of supply that can actually be available tomorrow. So if you miss out on the mint, I highly suggest going out on the secondary market. We're immediately rolling right into the very next drop that we're going to be working on.
No, I'm so sorry, guys. I just wanted to add. So like the only way to get access tomorrow is to sign up for pre-mint right now. Only people who are registered on our pre-mint will be able to mint the remaining supply that is left. And Just a really quick rundown. It's 0.089 supply of 3969 NFTs. 300 has been kept for our investors in the vault. So it's 3669 kind of floating. What is the utility? You get access to a lot of our drops. You get access and discounts and even airdrops to a lot of our drops. But I think the key thing, which Moonlight, if I may, I just tease a little bit. We like to call ourselves a layer 2 of art, right? We give accessibility and scalability to art. And I can't say too much legally, so this is something that I've been warned multiple times by my lawyers. But I just came back from Hong Kong, and you know, with my investors, with Animoca and stuff like that. We had this idea for a pretty long time. All I can say, it's the currency of the culture. It's a cultural token, and you know, we talk about DeFi. I'm talking about ArtFi. I'm talking about CultureFi, and that is what this token would power. And same thing, very similar to the philosophy of NFTs, right? The token value is always up to the community and the narrative and the momentum and you know, the belief in the project as well as the utility comes in. But the difference between everybody else, in my opinion, and us is that when you go back down, I mean, Bitcoin, if the bear hits again, could it go down to 20,000? Very possible, right? But imagine a token that is protected your downside because it's backed by real world assets with real world value. And those real world assets actually does increase in value over time as well. That's kind of all I am allowed to say. But that is the idea. And this token, how the heck are we going to distribute it to the community, right? All I can say is everything in our ecosystem, how much you hold, that's important. But equally, or if not something even more important, is how long you hold it for. We are checking all of that. We do have a point system. We do have a leaderboard that is all in the back end, and we will announce it. But this alpha, I guess, for you guys, right? In a couple of months' time, it will be made public. But that's the way we're going to distribute that token as well. And if you look at our backers who are part of the community as well, we didn't even show all. Like just some of them just posted, but not even all of them like posted that they minted the founders pass that we're doing, right? But if you see those people in our network, you kind of know who is, you know, building this movement together with us. So yeah. Kind of follow us at CO_museum at Twitter, I guess.
Yes, thank you so much. And friends, be sure to give Co-Museum a follow and follow both our team members over here. Actually, 3. Yes, also Luis over here. Yeah, listening to us. Yeah, we love talking all the time. Thank you so much, Fan, for scheduling these marvelous AMA session. I had a great time and hope you do as well. And of course, our AMA session will be replayable across different social media platforms, and will be there for a long time. Also, we'll later add it to post on podcasts as well. This is definitely going to be a fun and knowledgeable session. Thank you once again. Thank you, Wei, James, and Luis for spending time with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. I'm going to close our bye. Thank you so much. I'm going to close our backstage over here, and we are going to continue to our replays. Before the replays, we're going to play our ending video. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting us as always. Amazing, everyone over here, that we are going to go to our replay, and let's go. Replay is always available over here. We're going to say bye to friends who are watching us on our YouTube live. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we have quite a good number today. And also, we want to say bye to friends who are watching us through our Twitter live, as well as Twitch live. Yes, we are also streaming on Twitch. Lots of sessions at the same time. And then we're going to say, we'll still stay here for friends who are watching us on our Binance Live. Okay, stick around. Thank you so much. And this is Meng Lai. I'm from Ultiverse Head of Committee MBD over here. It's about 12 p.m. Good time. Double 12 over here. Let's go. We are going to see you again.